Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show. I'm your host, Monica Pierre, and I am so excited you've joined us. I'm a three-time Emmy Award winning reporter and producer. I'm a talk show host. I'm also the founder of the Powerhouse Woman Show. And on the Powerhouse Woman Show, we interview the most brilliant women imaginable. They share their journeys, their struggles, what they've learned, and how they're making an impact and an influence and transforming people's mindsets. And so, one of the ways we're going to talk about how we can do that is being visible online. So, I'm giddy because I have joining us, I'm just go ahead and call him one of my friends, Angélique Binet. She's from New Brunswick, Canada. And Angélique is also an online visibility strategist. And bells and whistles, she is the author of the phenomenal book, Are You Visible? Yes. Are you visible? And what happens in your business when you show up for yourself? Angelique, hello, bonjour.
Bonjour, Monica, my sister from
I
Louisiana.
know, I know. And we have some things in common because you grew up on a farm, we were sharecroppers. So we always felt that there was another little Angelique, another little Monica somewhere in the world.
Yes.
First of all, how are you handling and reacting to all of the amazing things that are happening for you? We mentioned the book, you're an online strategist, social media strategist. You've just done a phenomenal TEDx talk. You have so much going on. What's happening? How are you receiving it?
I love that question because it was very fast. It was like within 6 months that
Wow.
everything happened. And when you hear often about how you can collapse time, and when you start really believing that your dreams are accessible, right? So and then it lands on you faster than you think. And so what's happening is that I still pinch myself, literally, like what happened. And I think what helps me to really get like integrate this in who I am becoming as an online visibility strategist is when people reach out to me and said, hey, page 39, you said this. And I completely, fall on the floor, cry my eyes out, or I read page 75, this, and now I was about to charge nothing for this. Now I'm going to charge. So I'm like, holy moly. So, what I didn't know, Monica, is that when you create something and like a book, it's very tangible, then you put it out there like a boat at sea, and it has its own life, and you cannot control where it's gonna go and how it's gonna land. Like hopefully you can control your boat, but for the book, I'm not even driving its life. It has its own life, and seeing how it lands here and there, it's just magical.
That is so wonderful. So the TEDx talk, which I think is, just brilliant. Your book, which I can't wait to get my copy so that I can delve right into it and say, "Oh, Angelique, on page XYZ, I'm on the floor crying. Look, what have you done to me?" That type of thing. Talk a little bit about the book. Are you visible? What happens where to your business in your business when you show up for yourself? Was this book something long time coming, or again did everything align and it was time for the book?
Yeah, so I think it's been 10 years that I've been very building my digital footprint online. And as you know, as journalists, we are storytellers, right? We share a lot of stories, others' stories. And I could feel that it was time to share more of my stories. So the first kind of a serious action that I took was the year before this book. I collaborated to another book, and the mission of that other book was, what is a story that you've never shared, that nobody knows, that really shaped how you came to build the business you run today? And at first I was like, no idea. I have no story that I'm hiding or anything. And then I was like, I think I had three drafts, and it was like ma, and then
Oh yeah.
then So I was working with coaches to write my chapter, and then one day the coach said, what is the thing that would scare you the most that people don't know yet that you would tell them? And then suddenly something came, and then it really came really hard, and it's a story that I forgot. That though it's a story that lasted 25 years in my life. I'm almost 50. Okay, so half my life, and almost. And I didn't remember about it. It was deep inside of me as a story of addiction. And so I literally, it was like opening my guts. And
Yeah.
I wrote the chapter. It's called Hungry for More, A Slice of My Life. And that was the kicker, because believe me or not, but when that book was published, I got a phone call from someone I haven't seen for 20 years that was watching everything that I was posting online. So that's why the TEDx is about, you never know who's watching. There is always someone watching. Like, don't get discouraged. Like, keep showing up, because there is always someone watching. And that's another proof. Like this lady, she said, Angélique, I'm following everything since the beginning. And you read your chapter. And I want to drink the same Kool-Aid as you do.
Wow.
And then she became a client right away.
Right away. Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, the power of stories.
Right. And the power of your story. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we forget that our story, because when I work with people too, Angélique, it's like, I don't think I have a story. I'm going, child, give me 5 minutes and I'll come out with like 27 stories that I hear, just give me 5 minutes. You address, and I think in the keynote that, your TEDx talk, you just say there's something that you've noticed that makes you sad and makes you mad when it comes to being visible for women entrepreneurs. What makes you sad and what makes you mad?
Well, I know a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I think the start of the TEDx is about, because I was just, when I was writing the TEDx, I was organizing the first social media love happy hour experiment in my neck of the woods. And so I wanted this extraordinary experiment to be in a nice place. I would hire, local chef, local flower makers, local, all the things local. So I was like searching online, who could be the person I hire for the food, for the drinks, for the flowers, for everything, so that my people, when they come to the social media love happy hour, they have an amazing time. And I couldn't believe how hard it got for me to find someone. And then I was asking around, and then people would tell, yeah, check that person. So I would check. And then all I could see on their social media is everything but what they were selling. And I was like, I lost a lot of my time. I was ready to pay. I was ready to hire.
Spend money.
Yes. And I'm like, it really made me reflect on, you got to share with people what, it's good to do storytelling and to share, your belief and all the things, but tell me regularly what you sell, because when someone is ready, they're ready. And they don't want to go and scroll all over. Like, tell me once a week minimum, what do you sell?
May I ask you, Angélique, how to do that? Because again, I don't know about in France and I don't know everything in Canada, but in the US, particularly certain groups, we have been so conditioned not to say, give the store away, number one, and do not say what you sell and do not put a price on it. How do you begin to chip away at that? Because it's hurting our businesses, it's hurting who we are, it's making us resentful because our businesses are not growing. What do you recommend?
Well, I recommend, I always take the lens of the person that is looking for you right now. There is someone right now Googling how to hire a coach that knows about this, or how to whatever, or keywords, and then you're gonna pop up in the search. But if you pop up on the search, like you want that person that is doing the search, she is in a pain moment. She's aware of it, or I say she because I work with women entrepreneur. She knows she has a problem, but she knows there is solutions around, and she's trying to find the best solution for her right now. And in the spirit of this, you want to make it easy for the person to see you, then explore if what you have in store for them kind of speak to their heart and needs. And then the next step is like, how do I go deeper? So, okay, I see that girl. Okay, she does that. But you need maybe a call with them, or maybe you want to download something they've done to see if that's really a good match. Like, it's just about making it easy for the person who is ready.
Right, right. I
So
think
that
it's just your recent newsletter. I think it struck me when you wrote, "I have a moral obligation to tell you what my service is." Why is it a moral obligation for those of us who are given these ideas, divinely, if you want to, say that that's where it's coming from, our moral obligation to let the world know, let our audience know?
Yeah, and that comes, I would not have said that 10 years ago. It
Mhm.
comes from building a confidence and seeing, the impact that my programs have on my clients. So my clients come to me for social media, but when they leave the work we do together, they finally get out of them and show who they really are. And one of my coach called them the giant within you. And so when you work with me, I help you get the giant outside of you. Not only you build an audience online, you build your digital footprint online, you share your voice, you get new clients, but there are ripple effect in your life, such as stopping an addiction. And I'm not a therapist, right? But it's finding the love of your life, finally having like uncomfortable conversation from that place of power, not about putting a finger against someone, like really honoring who you are and loving yourself. And that, like, what social media and that what it's everything is related. The way you show up or don't show up online is completely um parallel to how much you see yourself, you love yourself, you talk to yourself every day, you judge yourself in the mirror every day. This is totally, and it took me years to understand this, and that's why the book here exists,
Yeah,
because
show us that book.
the stories I share here are very vulnerable, and I knew I had to go there to grow my business. Because when you lie to yourself, you lie to your audience, and we are energy, right? And even if it's not conscious, I'm not, waking up, I'm going to lie to them today. I'm going to say how it's amazing. When inside of you, like, oh my God, what am I saying? What am I going to say? And those old stories are like, bah, bah, in the back of your head. And most of the time it's unconscious. And this is where we go when we become visible. We go in the unconscious mind, so that the conscious mind who wants the mega business, who wants to host retreat, who wants to have full programs, that person, she dreams and she's very aware of her dreams, but it has to be in tandem with our unconscious mind that is controlling 90% of our life every day on automatic. So you need to unprogram everything, literally like a computer. We need to go in there and check, what are you thinking every day about yourself, about what you do, when you post, when you start your life. What is the inner dialogue that is going on that you hear or not, but that it's here? And most of the time it's related to past experience, the way you were raised, generational trauma. We need to unlock all of this, and it's not a massive thing. It's simpler than we think. And that I didn't know about. And that's why now when I teach social media marketing, I also teach the art of untangling all the mind and the body, because the body will stop you if you don't pay attention and if it's against what it wants or what it feels safe to be doing. Because, hey, social media, being on live like this, it takes to be brave and courageous, right? And it
Right.
takes to believe in your heart that today there is someone watching our conversation that may not give up and they plan to give up a minute ago, that may completely change the trajectory of their life. And I've seen it again and again. So now that's why I'm like, yeah, it's my moral obligation to invite you to my programs, because I know what it can do for you if you're open to do the work. I
Right.
have no doubt. It's a story of my life and of my clients.
Mm. As you were speaking, we both have interviewed lots and lots of people. You spent 10 years in news as a journalist in France, and I wish I'd have known you when
I
our
know.
paths were crossing. But I remember interviewing this guy who started an organization, and he basically told me, he said, every day, every day, I tell people about this organization and what their support and their dollars will do for the boys that I'm working to help every day. And I'm going, wow. And I started thinking, well, am I doing things every day? And the answer was no, I was not doing things every day. So I think that's just having that courage to do it every day. And some will like it, some will resonate, some will say no or not now, but that's not our business, right? It's our moral obligation to let people know what you do. And if they need you right now.
Yes. And Monica, what I would say is that it took me years for me to be able to say, I changed lives.
Mm.
Because my unconscious mind was like, who do you think you are? You can't even handle your own life. All the things we tell ourselves, right? And so I just want to say this, because the clients I work with, they're most of them used to do, executive careers, big careers in the public, working for someone else, running boardrooms, big teams. And then they said, enough of giving 80 hours of my week to someone else's dream. I'm going to build my own dream. So that's how most women entrepreneurs, we open our business. And then it's just you and your phone when it's time to market.
Yeah.
So
Right.
how did you go from, and this is when you start to hear all the stories that have been in you that don't even belong to you, that don't even belong to your time anymore. And this is when it's get louder, right? Because there is nobody who is guiding you outside of you guiding yourself. You become the leader of your own team, the leader of your own business. And that's what I see all the time. And so it happened the same for me. So that's why, you really need to pay attention to how you see yourself, because if you don't believe you can change life and you just say, I change life, people feel it, you know? So I always say, go back to the last client you helped and remember what they told you about something shifted in them. You didn't even decided that they will shift today, because when you're a coach or a consultant, you cannot control how your coaching is going to unlock someone or make a breakthrough happen, but it will. And most of the time it's unexpected. It's not at the time we think it happens. It's right away or later, and it is massive. And people are like, oh, why I didn't do that earlier in my life. Like they can't believe it, but they were not ready before. And so I'm sure all of you watching today, you
Mm.
have a story. And Monica, I'm sure you have one right away that came up where someone is like, gosh, I can't believe that I'm seeing this that way now, or this is
Mm.
happening, and things are lining up like never before. Something happened, right? And that's enough for you to say you change people's life, because you do.
I love it. I absolutely love it. The show is the right time, but never enough time. So, how do people work with you? Tell us about your offers and how they can work with you, and definitely how they can get the book, Are You Visible?
Yes. So if you go to the link that Monica and I'm going to give you, it's called Social Media Love Essentials. And basically gives you, I'm all about ease for the user again. Like, so you'll find an access direct to the TEDx so that you can hear me. Maybe I'm not your type. So don't worry. There are so many other amazing people on the planet. But if you feel something when I talk to you in that TEDx, dig. And then the book is right there. You can grab it on Amazon. And then there is also, an invitation to join me in my group program, which is life changing. It's called Magic with Social Media Love, where we unprogram. So that unprogramming that I do on what your behavior around social media, you're going to renew your relationship with social media and visibility. And you're going to have for 12 weeks a challenge with me where you're going to become visible in a way that you've never been before, because you're going to explore who you really are and who you are becoming as a visible leader. And this is going to impact the challenge where I'm going to help you, to show up. And then in between all of this, there are coaching sessions that I give where you bring your business, whether you want to build an offer, you want me to have an eye on your sales process or your content. There will be plenty of time when you bring your questions and we address whatever needs to be addressed that week.
Wonderful. And so you see it, it's Social Media Love Essentials, and that is the site. And I have had you on twice now.
Yes.
Yes. And
Thank you.
I just love it. I know you've been doing a lot of different podcasts. You've been a guest on podcasts. You have your own show. You've had me on your show. Behind the business, behind her business. What's the name of your podcast?
Behind the story of our business.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. And thank you for using your gifts and your talents. And this is exactly what you deserve and you're worthy of. And it's just the beginning. And I'm just so happy to call you friend. And I am cheering you from the sidelines.
Thank you so much, Monica. I love being with you.
Oh, thank you. Hang on just a second. I'll give you a proper goodbye in a second. And I want to thank you all for joining us today on the Powerhouse Woman Show. Fear can't be the final answer. It cannot, because you have been given something to do, Powerhouse Woman, and no one can do it the way you do it. So put it out there, become visible, and get Angélique's information and her bundle as well. We'll talk to you next time on the